there's Trevally starting to bust the surface too, which is, I'm going to have to, oh, it's getting smashed on the way in. My God, I wish you could see that. The boils, mate, the boils coming in. It was just honing in on that. I got 5 big boil ups. All right, well, here it comes again, mate. Here it comes again. Grab it. It's starting to fill up. The water's coming in here and it's starting to fill up along the edges of those retaining walls, so I reckon that's going to work. Oh, I'm on. Good fish too. Big one. Oh, boil, yep, I'm on. There we go. Yes. Oh, I'm on. Yep. Oh, that's a good one. There you go. That's just answered the question straight away. Trevs love this thing. Look at that. Just want to see whether the jacks are going to punish it though.
Yeah.
It is certainly worth having a go at night, if you can stand it. Welcome back to another My Lure Box video. In today's video, we're in the kayak. It's been way too long, I know, but this is the time of year when I love to do it, so I've decided to come down to a canal. There's been a fair few Trevally getting around lately. There's heaps of bait in these systems now. It always happens around late September, middle of October, it starts to go nuts. So I've got a late change in the tide. It's going to start running out in about half an hour, I reckon, and there's about an hour and a half of light left. So Trevally are on the cards. I've got stuff in for a mangrove jack. I'm going to chase some brim in around the pontoons as well. So could have everything in it or absolutely nothing this afternoon, but you can tell I've got 3 rods, so I'm pretty jacked, and a ton of lures to test out and play around with. So really excited. Good conditions. The last couple of days has been really hot. Let's get into it. Clear one on. I'm going to go to this little darker bloodworm looking one because I've seen a couple of fish just look at it and take off, so I reckon something's not quite right. So maybe a darker colour one might be the go. And the other thing is, I reckon that hook might have just had the point taken off it, and I don't have my hook sharpener in. Nearly just got knocked out by a mullet. By a flying mullet. Alright. That, I reckon, is going to do the trick. Just going to throw a bit of scent on it. Get to it. Okay. See what happens. Oh, just got hit. That's it. Straight away, mate. Straight away. I can see a brim swimming against that. You watch this. Here we go. Yep. Tick, tick. Tick. Yep, got it. There we go. That's a better hook set too. Look. Yes. There we go. Look. There's the little soft prawn, and he was just swimming along that retaining wall. I could see his bow wave, and I was watching the little jelly prawns just pop along in front of him. Hey, darling. Yeah, good. How are you? Good. She's lovely. Oh, what is it, Maria?
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm on. Good fish too. Big one. Can I call you back? I'll call you back. Oh, awesome. Just slowing that retrieve down because the wife's on the phone. On the blower. Well, the change of colour definitely has had an impact here. Because I fished for about half an hour with that completely clear one. And then I've dropped a fish and caught these two. Before I get this one in. That's a better fish too. Yeah, I'll give you a better look at this one. This one's got a little bit of chunk about it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. What a beauty, eh? What a beauty. Bit of chunk about it, that's what we want. Big thick chin on it, look. Yeah, that's what you want. It goes hard, I thought it was a Trev. Beautiful stuff. Off you go, buddy. Well, a change of lure to this little red one. It's made all the difference, I reckon. Maybe the scent too, because I didn't have scent on the first one. I realise I'm just about to run into old Love's line. It's got 3 rods out off this jetty. I've just pulled a beast brim from underneath her feet. Yep, got it. There it is. It's not a bad fish too, because he's gone straight under that pontoon. I reckon. Oh, here he comes. Oh, has a good account of himself. He's only small. He's keen as. There's another one. Oh well. It's textbook because I am going super slow through here. I really should be using the pliers on these because you just wreck the plastic really quickly if you just go trying to pull it out by the plastic. See, buddy. Yep. Oh. You're kidding. Mate, I am missing a lot of fish this afternoon with this straight through fluorocarbon. I don't know what the deal is. Like, maybe my hook set isn't as aggressive. Maybe I need a longer rod, like so I can really set into the fish with this fluorocarbon. It's really stretchy stuff. Like I'd say it's even more stretchy than mono. It's got to be pretty close. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I think it's on. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Well, it's typical Gold Coast size brim, but what they lack in size, the numbers are damn good, and they're super aggressive fish. Crazy. Fight you all the way back in. This little thing is just doing some really good work. The key to it is sending it into where the shadows are. Like late afternoon, if you can find a retaining wall where it's running shadows right along the retaining wall, and it only needs to be that wide, the brim will be stacked in there. That's how they hunt these little jelly prawns. They sit in the shadows, and as the teams of jelly prawns come flying through, they just start picking them off. And you can hear them kissing up against the retaining wall. You can see them showering with the jelly prawns and boiling on the prawns and that sort of thing. And the rest of it is just about stealth and not spooking these fish. So I've just about done enough with the brim. I reckon I'm going to change and chase a Trevally or a jack now. But yeah, I just wanted to share. Oh, just missing on it. Just wanted to share with you a couple of the tactics on how to do it if you want to come out here and chase these brim. You know, at any stage really. My favourite time is on the higher end of the tide when you've got a little bit more water up against those retaining walls. They really use those with the pontoons as their feeding grounds. That's what you want to do. And if you can manage the stealth of being in a kayak and drifting with the wind and not having to use a motor or a paddle or whatever, but just really quietly going along and keeping your presence low, that's what I love about a kayak, is, you know, that lower presence. Even I try to keep my rod tip low when I'm casting and retrieving. I'm not lifting it right up, because the brim in these zones, it's really clear. That's why I've got fluorocarbon, just 4 pound fluorocarbon. They can definitely sense all of this sort of stuff. So real finesse style fishing, lots of fun. Even though the fish are small compared to a jack or a big trevally, it's still a lot of fun and a great challenge at that. And good numbers too. Teaches you a lot about your retrieve and your fishing style to chase brim like this. Yeah, he's ticking it. Tick, 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 tick. Yep, got it. Oh, see how much fun that is. Light gear, and I mean, I haven't got all the answers. I haven't got the whole thing right yet. I'm still not really happy with how I'm fishing this fluorocarbon. I'd love to hear your input on how to fish this fluorocarbon right through at 4 pound and 2 pound, because there's certainly an aspect to it that I'm not satisfied with yet. Mate, I think, I'm guessing maybe it's a slightly stickier, longer rod, and that'll give me, when I load up, I'll be able to set the hook a lot better than what I'm doing with this. This is a 7 foot, 7 foot, and it's just a light action rod. So when I'm loading, I'm not something with a little bit more in it might just set that hook a bit better with fluorocarbon. You don't want it too heavy, because it's going to pop out of their sort of soft little lips. Anyway, the time to throw surface lures is coming. It's not too far away. The sun's starting to get low. I might throw some jack gear on, do some fishing with stuff like this. This is what I want to fish with this afternoon. These live target swim bait series stuff. And see if I can pull a jack or just get some interest. It's hard though when the fishing's good and you're getting fish all the time to change up and go for something else. I'll give you the tip. Oh, I can see the brim there in against that wall. You've got to get right in on it. If you're a foot away, they're not really interested. And usually with brim, that's you know, it's not too much of a factor, but against these retaining walls, they're really choosy. So you've got to be right in close, and the risk you run then is that you're taking the hook, the point off the hook. If you're smashing it in against that barnacle encrusted edge all the time, you've got to keep checking your hook. And I've had to change my little soft prawn out this afternoon, because I reckon these really catchy hooks, if you're really rough with them, they tend to lose that real catchy stickiness to them. It makes a big difference in your catch rates. Okay, I'm guessing that some of this footage is going to be a punish to watch, because the sun's right behind me, but that's how I'm having to fish it, to try and get these. Oh, come on. Yep. Oh, that's good one. I'm trying to get the shadows right, so I'm having to get the sun sort of behind me and off to the side a little bit, so I'm throwing into these retaining walls. The same thing happens with mangrove jack. They feed in the same way. Mangrove jack, trevally, they feed in the same way. The only difference is the jacks and the trevally need a little bit more water on that wall to be able to do it. So you want about a foot of water on there at least to get those trevs and the jacks going. If you've got a deep retaining wall, like if you've got a metre of water on a retaining wall and you've got tide and wind pushing up onto it, that's money. That's everything you need for a jack. So probably why I'm a little bit reluctant. There's not a lot of water on these walls this afternoon, so it's all going to be pontoon stuff. So I'm a little bit reluctant to change over. Anyway, give it another couple of minutes. Yeah, so the things that you're looking for when you're out here doing this with these little prawns, any little showering bait is a sign that they're in there feeding. And then if you've got, you know, retaining walls with splash marks on them, that's a dead giveaway that they've been feeding. If you've got an edge like a pointing out pressure point, or a gap in the retaining wall, even an overhanging tree that's sort of growing down into the water, that's a dead giveaway. The bream will sit under that. And then your obvious sort of, you know, these little obvious structures that you can see. And then the other one is if it's a lot of the retaining walls have got sand underneath them, but then if you've got like a boat ramp or any little rocky outcrop or anything, that's just game on. Especially if there's a big distance between those kinds of structures. They tend to school on those, and then they all pack mentality, get really aggressive and try and out eat each other and compete for your bait. That's when it becomes really fun. And all it is then you've got your casting accuracy, so getting it right in against that wall, and then just not being too impatient, just giving it time. These light prawns just to drift down into the face of the bream where they can see it come over, or make a decision together and start to compete for it, or just get curious and start to nip on it. And you'll watch your line and you'll see that happening. It's super exciting fishing. It's great stuff. Even when the fish are tiny, like what I'm picking up today, I still love it. Really satisfying. Oh, it might be a bit late. Tommy hasn't had a sleep, has he? What's the time now? I'm on again. It's 5 now, is it? Lauren, you're a good luck charm, darling. Every time you get on the blower to me, I end up pulling a decenty. I'm literally, I've got one in the kayak right now. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. It's bouncing around on my legs, spiking the bejesus out of me. How can I leave these fish to come home for land? Oh God, they're punishers. Just putting holes in my hands. Alright, well that's been heaps of fun and really interesting just to fish with this little soft prawn. So the fluorocarbon right through in this clear water I think really helps, especially when you get down around that 4 pound. I changed up from a clear one today, which I wasn't really getting any interest on. Just a small fish and maybe a couple of little hits, and then I changed over to this bloodworm one, and immediately within 1 or 2 casts you can see it's panel beaten now, a bit of hail damage. It's had heaps of interest all afternoon now. I'll say all afternoon, it's been about 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes. But I put a little bit of scent on this as well, which I really think with these lures, when you're running a lure that has zero action, no action, it's all profile, fade, and just the way that it sits there and its movement in the water, that a little bit of scent helps, especially with bream, the way that they feed. That's definitely made the difference today, those two things, the change up of the colour or the contrast. You can look at that and then using that scent. I probably pulled half a dozen bream within that sort of half an hour period on that bloodworm colour, and then my hookup rate still isn't awesome, so I'd love to hear your comments on what I could change up with that, how I could strike or let the fish take it more. I started doing that. I started letting the fish take off with a little bit, making sure they'd turn before I started to lean into the fish and set that hook. But the stretch in that 4 pound fluorocarbon, it's Vanish, which I use as a soft casting fluorocarbon, so there's still a lot of stretch in it. I just think that has an impact on your hookup rate, but it might have an impact on how many fish are actually coming in and getting into your bait in the first place. So it's one of those things. I'll show you what I got on now, and the sun's going down. I've got a sugar pen on my other setup that I'm going to toss around if I see any surface action at all from a Trev or anything. I might start using a couple of walking lures. I've got a little I think it's an 85 pencil as well from Duo. but I've got a little skipping plastic, my Eco Gear bolt that I use for mangrove jack, mostly around the natural structure. So I'm going to swap that out, and I'm going to throw on one of these bait junkies. This is the new jerk shad by Bait Junkie. These are the 5-inch, and I'm just really curious to test out and see firstly how they skip. I know they're really soft. They come in these little clamshell packets. So firstly how they skip, and then whether you can rig them on the same little weighted weedless setup. You can see that they're actually quite sort of sticky and annoying to get in and around the pack to get them right, because you want them sitting in that little packet. So they're not the most sticky plastic, but they are they do have this sort of stickiness about them, but that comes because they're sort of really sort of soft and that sort of thing. But you can see their design features, like they've got a beautiful belly slit, they've got a locator at the top, and then this joint in the middle is really the thing that's got me interested. I love a little twin tail like that. You might be able to see that little twin tail there. I love that design. Oh, this is going to work on jack, I reckon. Just watching it now, I reckon this is going to work. Yeah, it's gonna work. It's gonna. The jacks are gonna smash this thing. The only thing is, it doesn't have a vibe. Like the paddle tail's got that, so the jacks know straight away. They're like, yeah, I'm after it. Whereas this thing is more of a visual. Oh, there's a jack. Big jack just rolled. Big jack just rolled off this pontoon. Oh my god. That was a big broad body that just took off then. That's scary. Because I'm only just running my little light skip casting setup. Oh my god. That's so loose. Jeez, that gets my heart going. I'll show you what I'm doing. I've just changed over. I've been fishing with the MMD soft prawn all afternoon, and I've been wanting to try this out. This is the new 5-inch jerk shad from Bait Junkie. Alright, so I've done a full review on these lures where I talk about some of their features broadly with the whole range, and I've had these ones that I've been really interested to see ever since. I'll bring you in so you can see a little bit better. Ever since I got my hands on them, I've been excited about these, and the reason is these have got a little join in them, and the action that they get when I saw it on their Facebook page, burning these things quick, I immediately thought, hey, there's something different for a mangrove jack. You know, we're fishing these paddle tails all the time, like that's one of my favourite jack lures, and the Z-Man Diesel minnows, without a doubt, probably one of the best for burning for mangrove jack. I thought, you know, maybe new action, maybe something different. And I was really excited for skip casting them. I was just messing around with that, and I don't think at the moment, first impressions, I'm going to give it a bit more time, but I don't think that they're the go. There's a lot of great skip casting lures, and the action I got from that when I started using it wasn't as good. Alright, so I've put this is one of Matty Fraser's Barambalua flatty jig heads on. Started fishing that, literally first cast, just got smacked by Trevally just honing in on it. Oh, there's Trevally starting to bust the surface too, which is, I'm gonna have to, oh, it's getting smashed on the way in. My god, I wish you could see that. The boils, mate, the boils coming in. It was just honing in on that. I got 5 big boil ups. Alright, well, here it comes again, mate. Here it comes again. Grab it. Holy dooly, there's some big Trevs after this thing. Well, that's answered the question straight away, man. But I want to try and fish this along pontoons now for jacks and just see what happens. So that's what I'm up to, and I've just pulled up to this pontoon here, and there was a big broad belly just went sideways. It was feeding on the edge. I could hear it sort of just kissing on the pontoon, and I thought it was a brim. And as I came up a little bit closer, sure enough, that big bronze colour came over the surface, right on the edge there. So they're here. I'm going to give it a go, see how it fishes. the action at high speed, this thing's going to pump trevally, no question. And I think what they were using them for in the video, they were using them for like kingfish and for chasing trevally and stuff like that. You know, high speed fishing, maybe even mackerel, whatever, tuna and stuff. But I want to see how they're going to go in the estuaries. All right, we'll keep fishing it. And the problem is now, I'm starting to fish it now, but the surface feeding is happening. Oh, I can see more bust ups further down. I'm going to throw a soft prawn at this. They're literally getting their backs out of the water, mate. This is going to be automatic. Should I film that? It's so obvious. Watch this. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, bang. Got it. Yep. And they're good fish too. Oh, here you go. Look how dark they are, mate. So dark because they just live under these pontoons. They're like the black brim from down south. Oh. How nuts is it when you can see them feeding just so freely? They were getting their backs out of the water. There was like 3 horses in there. This is one of the smaller ones. Pop. Boy, this thing's killed them this afternoon. Mick Molnar, you're unbelievable, mate. Your designs with these little prawns and the splash prawns and everything. Oh boy, yep, I'm on. There we go. Yes. Mate, I knew it was going to happen at some point, and I know exactly what it is. A little trevally. This time of year, these are everywhere in the canals, and I'm so stoked that this has worked because the action on this little lure, boy, it's impressive. I know it's only a small trev, but I've only been fishing with it for a short while, and he's not the first trev to have a go at it. There's been a few. And he's not going to be the last either. These things are going to dominate. Look at that. That join in them and make it super effective. Awesome stuff. So just ripping it really quick. Lots of action with the rod tip. And that was just getting it to work really hard. Around bridges this time of year, you're going to be able to get your hands on a few of these trevally. They're heaps of fun. God, they go hard. And I reckon these things are going to work on the jacks as well. But it's just going to take a really refined retrieve. You're going to have to really dial it in if you want it. They're not as forgiving as other lures in terms of getting that tail action right. The speed's got to be right, and got to have a jig head on there that's got enough weight in it to pull it down, so they're going to be able to get under those pontoons. yeah, I'm going to change over from this now, and I'm going to go back and put a little splash prawn on. This is a little, I think they call it banana bender, but that's a little splash prawn, an MMD splash prawn, and chase a couple of trevally, probably some brim in along the edges. It's starting to fill up. The water's coming in here, and it's starting to fill up along the edges of those retaining walls, so I reckon that's going to work. I was going to run this sugar pen, but because that's been really good for me recently. I had a great session over on North Stratty with this in the flats, but the MMD prawn, I've just got that jimmied up with really good hooks, and I reckon these little assist hooks on this aren't going to be strong enough for a trevally, and I reckon being able to work this splash prawn a lot slower than what I would that sugar pen, even though they still take the sugar pen on the stop. This little thing, it's action with all these prawns around. I reckon this is going to get it done. So I'm going to throw this on, and if it takes us into the night, I've got a little light that I'm going to run. Hopefully get a little bit of action on the surface with this thing. Oh God, there's a bust right there. Can I get to that? A bit slow. I haven't even cut my tag end off. Oh, he's boiling it. He's after it. Oh God, it's going to be on. Alright. Cut that tag end and we'll get into it. Kissing happening there. Cool. Oh. Come on, come and grab that. Actually spooked all the brim that were there. Oh, he went after it. Come on, got it. Oh, dropped it. Because I didn't think I had it. Oh, boy, they got aggressive for it. Just took a while for him to get the courage. Right, well, I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see, but I'm hoping what you can pick up is the edge there, right in there, and that's where I'm trying to throw this little splash prawn, and I'm watching for any sort of bow waves or any sort of wake movement along the edge there, and most of the time, at this time of the tide, it's the brim, but there's trevally as well, there's mangrove jack, but mostly they're trevally in this area. If you're getting onto those bigger fish, this place is loaded with bull shark, and all I'm doing is fishing really slow for that first metre, and that's trying to get onto the brim, and then after that I'm just sort of starting to pump it back in, and that's where I'm getting trevally coming after it, chasing after it. They're super aggressive. Oh, there's a kiss and a slut and a grab. Grab it. Yep, now I got it. Oh, that is brilliant. So cool. Oh, I desperately wanted to show you some of this because it is certainly worth having a go at night. If you can stand it, it's beautiful, it's calm, there's no boat traffic, and as long as you've got some lights on your vessel, if there's anything that comes around, you can hear it all. The fishing's really good too. Wait till these stop going on the ankle. Oh, he left the best part of his fight until he was in the boat. Calm down, buddy. Have a look at that, eh? Beautiful stuff. And see you, mate. And that was taken on that little gem there. That's I think it's called a banana bender. But it's a splash prawn. This night fishing stuff with little poppers and surface walkers and stuff for brim is just fantastic. Heaps of fun. So good. Alright, I might keep going or I might wrap it up because it's starting to get pretty dark. Alright, well that's all I've got light for tonight. I'm going to head home now, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're after some more of this stuff out of the kayak, especially on the Gold Coast, you've got to check out the Kayakers Guide to the Gold Coast. It's a full-length DVD, and I've got a whole range of fish in there: bass and Saratoga, mangrove jack, trevally, good flathead, whiting on service lures, and brim on thongs at night, on lures made from thongs. So if you're into this kind of thing and you like fishing into that late afternoon into the evening, then you got to make sure you check that out. There's loads of tips in there as well. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.